The sea was loud that night, too loud to ignore. It didn't sound like water anymore. It sounded like a warning. Waves crashing, wood creaking, wind howling through the cracks of a house that's been waiting too long to die. I stood there on the deck barefoot, a glass in my hand and guilt in my chest. The boards beneath me were slick with rain, the air thick with salt. Every breath tasted like memory. And memory, for me, always hurts going down. She called me 2 days ago. Her voice was sharp, businesslike, the way she gets when she's already made up her mind. "Dad, we're going tomorrow." "I've sold your beach house, my beach house," the last thing her mother ever touched. She said it like she was freeing me, like this place was a ghost I should be glad to lose. But she doesn't know. She doesn't know what's buried here, what this house has seen. I take another sip, feel it burn down my throat. The sea roars back, louder, as if it's angry I haven't told her the truth yet. Maybe it's right. Maybe it's been right all along. I built this place with my own hands 30 years ago. Back then, the walls were white, the laughter was real, and the future looked like sunlight on the water. Now the paint peels, the glass fogs, and the only sound left is the sea accusing me over and over. "You did this. You did this." She thinks selling this house will bring peace, that we can both move on. But peace isn't something you can buy with paperwork. Peace demands payment in truth, and I've been broke for a long, long time. The night is heavy. Somewhere inside, a floorboard creaks, not from my weight, but from memory. I look through the window and see the reflection of the family we used to be. Her mother's laughter. My daughter's tiny hands reaching for seashells. A photo frame that used to hang on that wall before I tore it down in one of my storms. God, I remember that night like it's carved into me. The argument. The thunder. The look in her mother's eyes. That mix of love and exhaustion. And the way the storm outside became the storm inside. People say time heals, they lie. Time just hides the wounds under new skin, thin enough that one wrong word can split it open again. Tomorrow, she'll come here. My daughter. She'll walk through these rooms with a buyer, a stranger, talking about property value and renovation potential, as if this isn't a graveyard of everything she lost, and I'll have to stand there pretending to agree. Pretending I'm fine. Pretending I don't still see her mother in every flicker of lightning that hits the window pane. The wind picks up. The old chime outside starts to ring. That sound she used to love. She said it reminded her of freedom. To me, it's always sounded like goodbye. I turn, and for a moment, I swear I see her, standing at the end of the hallway, her hair wet, her eyes calm. Just like that night. But ghosts don't walk. They linger. And this one's been lingering for 20 years. I whisper to her memory, the way a man talks to a wound he knows will never close. "She's coming tomorrow. She's selling the house." No answer, of course. Only the sea. The sea never lies. It just takes, you know. I wasn't always like this. There was a time I believed in forgiveness, in rebuilding. But forgiveness requires two people willing to face the truth. And I've only ever had one, so tonight I make a choice. If she's coming back here, if she's taking this house away, then she deserves to know what it cost to keep it standing. Not the market value. The truth. Even if it breaks her. Even if it breaks me again, because some things can't be buried forever. And when the tide rises tomorrow, it's not just going to wash the shore. It's going to bring everything I've hidden back to the surface. I drain my glass and walk back inside. The house smells like wet wood and old secrets. I pass the study door, still locked, still whispering. Behind it, there's a box. Inside that box, a truth. And once she opens it, there's no going back. I stop, hand on the doorknob, heart pounding like the surf. I tell myself not to do it. Not tonight. But then I hear it. A car in the distance. Headlights cutting through the fog. She's early. I set the glass down, steady my breath, and look toward the window. For the first time in years, the sea goes quiet. And that's when I know it's about to begin. The knock comes softly at first, polite, hesitant. Like she's unsure she even wants to be here. Then again, she never really wanted to come back. No one does, once they've learned to live with forgetting. I don't move. I just stand in the dim hallway, watching the rain bead down the window pane, listening to the rhythm of it. Soft, steady, relentless. That's the thing about storms. They don't ask for permission. They arrive when they want. Dad? Her voice pierces through the silence. Familiar, older now, sharper around the edges like glass worn by the sea. I almost answer. Almost. But I let the silence stretch, just to hear her footsteps cross the porch. When I finally open the door, she's standing there, soaked from the rain, suitcase in one hand, phone in the other. Her face is the same, only colder. She looks at me the way people look at old photographs, with a mix of pity and distance. You didn't answer my calls, she says. I heard them, I tell her. Didn't have anything new to say. The words fall between us like stones in water. No splash, just a slow sinking. She walks past me without waiting for an invitation. She's always done that, moved through spaces like she owns them. Maybe she does. After all, she's selling the place. I follow her into the living room. The air feels heavier here, the dampness, the smell of dust and sea salt, the weight of unsaid things. She glances around like she's taking inventory of a museum. You could have at least cleaned up, she mutters. I did, I say quietly. Just not the way you wanted, she sighs, setting her suitcase down. Then she turns to me, eyes softening for a heartbeat. It's only a house, Dad. We'll get something better. Only a house. If only she knew. I look at her, really look at her, and for the first time in years, I notice how much of her mother she carries. The tilt of her head, the impatience in her jawline, the way she holds her anger like it's something sacred. I want to tell her everything, right there, to tear open the truth and let it bleed, but the words stay locked in my throat, choking on regret. So instead, I pour her a drink. She refuses it. Of course she does. She walks over to the old piano, the one her mother used to play on rainy nights. It's covered now, a thin layer of dust softening the edges. She brushes her fingers across the keys and hits one by accident. The note hangs in the air, lonely and cracked. Still sounds the same, she says. No, I whisper. Nothing does. She turns, frowning. You could have moved on, Dad. You should have. Mom would have wanted that. That's what people always say when they don't know the truth. What she would have wanted. If she knew what really happened, she wouldn't say that. She'd scream. I look away, focus on the storm outside, the sea turning black under the moonlight. You shouldn't have come alone, I say. I didn't, she replies. Mark's waiting in the car, her husband. A man I never liked, polite smile, greedy eyes. The kind of man who sees opportunity in other people's pain. Of course she brought him. Of course she'd want him here when she takes the last thing I have. She studies me for a moment, then says softly, You're not angry? I smile. A hollow thing. Would it matter if I was? She doesn't answer. I pour myself another drink. The sound of the liquid hitting the glass is too loud in the quiet room. I take a sip, and when I look up, she's staring at the study door. That door. Always that door. You still keep it locked? She asks. Some things aren't meant to be opened. Like what? Memories? No, mistakes. Her eyes linger there, curious, cautious. You always said Mom kept her journals in there? She did, I say. And I keep them safe. She tilts her head. Safe from what? I almost say it. Almost tell her from you. But the words die again. Because once they start, they won't stop. The clock ticks louder than it should. The storm hits harder. There's something about this night that feels like a setup. The universe rearranging itself to finish what it started 2 decades ago. She breaks the silence first. The buyers are coming tomorrow. I thought we could pack some of your things tonight. Buyers? I repeat. Plural? Yes, a couple. They said they used to spend summers near here. My stomach turns cold. She keeps talking, but I barely hear her. I know that name. I know that couple. And if it's who I think it is, then tomorrow isn't just a sale, it's the reckoning. I stare at the locked study door again, feeling the pulse in my wrist quicken. Everything I've buried is in there, every truth, every ghost. And now, tomorrow, strangers will walk through this house and dig it all up. No, not strangers. Her mother's brother. The man I thought I'd never have to see again. The sea begins to rage outside, waves slamming the shore like fists. I look at my daughter. She doesn't notice the shift in me, the storm building behind my eyes. She just says, "It'll be over soon, Dad. You'll see." And she's right. It will be over soon, just not the way she thinks. It's strange how silence can feel heavier than noise. When she finally goes upstairs to unpack, the house exhales, an old, tired sound like wood surrendering to time. I sit alone in the living room, listening to the storm crawl across the roof. The lightning flickers through the windows, painting the room in ghost light. Every flash brings her mother's face back for a heartbeat, smiling, accusing, gone again. I've tried to drink her away for years. The truth, too. But the sea always brings back what you throw into it. Always. I take out the key, the one I swore I'd never use again. It's cold against my palm, heavier than it should be. I stare at it for a long time, hearing her voice upstairs, muffled through the ceiling. She's talking to her husband, laughing softly. That laugh twists something inside me. It's the same as her mother's, bright and unguarded. The same sound that used to make me forget how broken we were. But the sea doesn't let you forget. It just waits until you're foolish enough to think you have. I walk toward the study door. The floorboards creak under each step, protesting. The air in this part of the house always feels colder, like it remembers. When I reach the door, I stop. My hand trembles. I tell myself I'm only checking, that I won't actually open it. But that's a lie, and I've told too many of those already. The lock clicks open, quiet and final. The room smells the same as it did that night, salt, dust, faint traces of her perfume. I never changed a thing. The books, the photographs, the blanket still draped over the chair. Everything frozen in time, untouched, except the box. It sits beneath the window, covered in a sheet, small, wooden, ordinary, unless you know what's inside. I crouch beside it, running my fingers over the lid. My reflection stares back in the glass of the window above it, a man I barely recognize. Lines deeper, eyes emptier. This box has been my curse and my comfort, my secret and my sentence. If she opens it tomorrow, she'll know everything. About her mother. About that night, about me. And once she knows, she'll hate me for good. Part of me thinks I deserve that. The other part, the colder, quieter part, wants to burn it before she gets the chance. I lift the sheet, brush off the dust. The hinges groan like an old confession. Inside, a bundle of letters, a photograph, and a silver locket shaped like a tear. Her mother's locket. The one I told my daughter was lost to the sea. It isn't lost. It never was. I kept it, because inside it, there's a truth small enough to fit in your palm, but heavy enough to drown you. I pick it up, open it, and there she is, my wife, smiling, holding our daughter in her arms. On the other side, an engraving, "Forgive what love becomes." I still don't know if it was meant for me or for her. The storm outside cracks like a whip. Thunder rolls across the sea, shaking the windows. And then I hear footsteps. "Dad?" Her voice. Too close. I snap the box shut and turn. She's standing in the doorway watching me. "What are you doing in here?" she asks. Her tone isn't angry. It's curious, dangerous, just remembering, I say. She looks past me, eyes landing on the box. "That's Mom's, isn't it?" I nod, slowly. "Some things are better left where they belong." She steps closer, ignoring me. "Why'd you keep it locked away all these years?" "Because it's not just a box," I say quietly. "It's a story, and stories can kill if you open them at the wrong time." Her gaze hardens. "Maybe I deserve to know what kind of story you've been hiding." "You will," I tell her. "But not tonight." She doesn't believe me. I can see it in her eyes. The same defiance her mother had when I begged her not to leave that night. The same look she gave me before the sea swallowed her scream. I grip the edge of the desk to steady myself. My heart's pounding, my throat dry. "Go to bed," I whisper. "Dad, please." She studies me one last time, then turns and walks away, her footsteps fading up the stairs. I wait until I'm sure she's gone. Then I open the box again and take out one letter, the one her mother wrote the night she died. The ink's blurred, the paper soft with age, but the words are still sharp enough to cut. He'll never tell her the truth. Not until the sea makes him. My hand shakes. I fold the letter back and stare at the locket glinting in the candlelight. The sea roars again, closer now, as if it's listening. Maybe that's what this storm is. The sea coming back for what I stole. I tuck the letter into my pocket, close the box, and lock the study again. Tomorrow she'll try to open it herself, and when she does, she'll learn that vengeance doesn't always come from hate. Sometimes it comes from love that was never allowed to die. I turn off the light, whisper to the darkness. She's not ready yet. But deep down, I know the truth. Neither am I. Lightning flares through the window, blinding white, splitting the sky in half. And in that flash, I swear I see her mother's reflection in the glass, whispering the same words she did that night. The sea never lies. David, it just waits. The thunder follows, drowning everything. And when it fades, the house feels different, alive, as if it hurt her too. They say walls can't talk, but this house has been whispering for years. It hums beneath the floorboards, sighs through the vents, and breathes through the cracks in the plaster, as if the air itself still remembers the night everything changed. Every scratch on the banister, every dent in the wall, every photo frame turned face down. They're not just signs of time. They're testimonies, pieces of a truth I tried to bury. When I step through the doorway, the air feels heavier than I remember. The scent of old wood and dust mingles with something faintly sweet. Lilac, my late wife's perfume. I thought time would erase that. It hasn't. My daughter walks in behind me, clipboard in hand, trying to look like a professional. Crisp, controlled, untouchable. Her heels click against the wooden floor like small hammers, breaking silence. "It's just a property, Dad," she says. "We'll get it appraised, fix what needs fixing, and list it. Quick turnaround, just a property." She says it like she's trying to convince herself. But this house, our house, isn't made of bricks and beams. It's made of echoes. Scene. The living room. She moves around, taking notes, opening curtains that have been shut for years. Light spills in reluctantly, like it doesn't want to see what's inside. The sofa is still in the same place. So is the coffee table, and the faint ring mark where her mother used to leave her teacup every morning. A small, perfect circle of routine and love, and later of absence. I stand there, half a man, half a shadow, watching her pretend to see this place for the first time. But she grew up here. Her laughter once filled these walls. Her tears stained this very carpet when she was 10 and scraped her knee. And on that final night, she was asleep upstairs. She never saw what happened, only the aftermath. The blood, the silence. The lie I told to protect her. "You okay, Dad?" she asked suddenly. "You look pale." "I'm fine," I lie, like I've done for years. She walks over to the mantel. The family photos are still there, except one. The one of her mother, the last taken before everything fell apart. It's turned face down. She notices it. "Why's this one flipped?" I look away. Dust got in the frame. "I just never fixed it." Another lie. The truth is, I couldn't bear her eyes watching me from that photo. They still accuse me. Scene. The kitchen tiles are cracked like dried skin. The sink drips every few seconds, a steady metronome counting memories. She runs her hand along the counter, sighing. "Needs renovation," she mutters. "Buyers love open concepts. Maybe we knock down this wall." She taps a section near the pantry, right above where I once hid the letters. Her mother's letters. The ones that told me she knew about the affair. The ones that ended with, "We need to talk. Tonight." I remember her handwriting, soft, careful, trembling at the edges. I never replied. By the time I thought of what to say, she was gone. I feel my chest tighten. "Leave that wall," I tell her quietly. Some things don't need to be opened. She gives me a look, curious, half challenging, half daughter. "You always say that, Dad, but nothing stays closed forever." She's right. Especially not tonight. We move down the corridor. The boards groan beneath our steps like they remember us. And then we reach it. The study door. That door has been locked for years. It's just wood and brass, but to me it feels alive, breathing, pulsing with everything I've tried to forget. Behind it, lie the fragments of that night. The broken glass, the photograph torn in half, the confession letter stained with something darker than ink. She stops in front of it, eyes narrowing. Still locked? Yes, I say. You still keep the key? Somewhere. She crosses her arms. You know, buyers will want to see every room. I'll need to open it eventually. My throat tightens. Not today. Why not? Her voice sharpens. She's not just a realtor now. She's the daughter I kept in the dark. And she's starting to sense the shadows. Because some doors don't lead where you think they do, I murmur. She exhales through her nose, frustrated. Dad, it's a study, not Pandora's box, but she's wrong. It's exactly that. Later, she goes upstairs to check the bedrooms. I stay behind, staring at that door like it's staring back. My hands itch for the key I swore I'd thrown away. But I didn't. It's still here, hidden beneath the floorboard in the hall closet, wrapped in a handkerchief that still smells faintly of her mother's perfume. I hear my daughter's footsteps above, steady, professional, detached. Until they stop. Dad? She calls out. Why is Mom's room still the same? I close my eyes. Because I never changed it. You never came back here after she died. I didn't have to. The house never stopped reminding me. She appears at the top of the stairs holding something. It's her mother's scarf. Time has faded the colors, but not the scent. You kept everything, she says softly. Why? Because forgetting felt like betrayal. She studies me for a long moment, and I can see it. The first flicker of something behind her calm exterior. Anger, sadness, recognition? Maybe all three. By evening, the sky outside bruises into twilight. The house feels heavier, as if night itself is settling in. We sit in silence, opposite each other at the dining table. Between us, 1,000 unsaid words. You know, she says finally, I always wondered why we left so suddenly. You said it was an accident, but you never told me what kind. My pulse quickens. The sound of the dripping tap in the kitchen becomes deafening. It was, I whisper, just not the kind you think. What does that mean? I meet her eyes, the same color as her mother's, and I realize she's not a child anymore. She deserves the truth. But truth once spoken doesn't return to silence. She stands and walks to the study again. Her hand rests on the handle. Dad, I need to see it. Don't. I have to. Her fingers tremble. The same way mine did the night I locked it. The brass handle glints faintly under the low light. I can almost hear the faint hum of the past behind it. Like breath. If you open that door, I say, voice breaking, you'll see what I've spent years trying to protect you from. She turns to me, steady, unafraid. Or what you've been protecting yourself from. The words cut clean through me. For a moment, I see both of them, her and her mother, overlapping in the dim light. Same eyes, same stubbornness, same need for truth no matter how much it hurts. I take a slow step forward, then another. The floorboards groan beneath me, as if warning me to stop, but it's too late. I reach into my pocket, and the key is there. I don't remember taking it, but my fingers close around it like it's always belonged there. I hand it to her. The metal is cold between us. If you open it, I whisper, you'll understand everything. But once you do, nothing will ever be the same. She looks at me, and then slowly turns the key. The click echoes through the house like a heartbeat. The door creaks open, a sliver of darkness breathes out, and with it the scent of lilac and rain. She gasps softly, frozen in the doorway. I can't see what she sees, not yet, but I already know, because I've seen it every night in my dreams. The house exhales, and the past, after all these years, finally begins to speak. The hinges groan like they haven't moved in years. Dust dances in the thin beam of light spilling from the hallway. I take a breath I didn't realize I was holding. She steps in first. I stay at the threshold, a coward at the gates of his own sin. The study smells of old paper, polish, and something faintly metallic. The curtains are drawn tight, the air stale. A desk sits in the center, layered in dust except for a single spot where a frame once rested. She notices it instantly. So do I. The frame's been gone for years, buried deep in a drawer I never open. She moves slowly, running her hand across the surface. "Was this where you worked?" Her voice is quiet, careful, like she's afraid to wake something. "Yes," I say. "This was where I wrote the letters." She turns to look at me. "To Mom?" I nod, but she doesn't understand. Not yet. I walk inside, every step heavier than the last. My hand grazes the bookshelf, the same shelf where I once kept her mother's journals. The same shelf that hid the truth. I can feel it still, the hollow behind the third row where the panel doesn't sit flush. She doesn't know it's there, but she will. She studies the room, the desk, the faded calendar on the wall, frozen in time, the month she died. Her eyes narrow. "Why is everything exactly the same?" "Because I couldn't change it," I say. "If I did, I'd lose what little I had left." She looks at me differently now, not angry, not yet, but curious in a way that hurts. "You said Mom slipped. You said she fell." I don't answer. Silence fills the room, thick as smoke. She walks to the corner where a glass cabinet stands. Inside, books, files, and a small wooden box. She opens the cabinet, picks up the box, and dusts it off. "The latch is rusted. Can I?" she asks. I don't stop her. She opens it slowly. Inside are photographs, black and white, faded with time, her mother smiling, me beside her, and then a few that shouldn't exist, her mother with another man. She stares at them. Her lips part slightly, but no words come out. "Who is he?" she finally asks. The question lands like a blade. "A friend," I say, too quickly, but the lie tastes like rust. She looks at me, really looks at me. "You knew." I nod once, barely. "I found out that night." Her face tightens. "You said it was an accident." "It was," I whisper. "At least, it started that way." The air thickens. The shadows in the room seem to pulse. I see flashes. Her mother's face, pale with fear. The broken glass. My own reflection in the window, distorted and monstrous. She doesn't speak. She just walks past me toward the window, pulls the curtain aside. Moonlight spills in, revealing the stains on the rug. Faint, but still there. "Is that—" "Yes," she turns back to me, shaking her head. "All these years. You let me believe. I wanted to protect you." "From the truth?" "From me." The words leave me before I can stop them. Her eyes fill with something I can't name. Pain, disbelief, maybe pity. I wish she'd scream, hit me, curse me. Anything but this quiet horror. She looks around the room again, as if seeing it for the first time. "She tried to leave, didn't she?" I nod slowly. "She said she was taking you with her. I told her she couldn't. We argued." She reached for the door. I grabbed her arm. I swallow hard. She pulled away. The vase fell. She slipped. The sound of that moment, the crash, the breathless silence after, still rings in my ears. I didn't mean to hurt her, I say. But when I saw her on the floor, I knew no one would believe it was an accident. So I made it look like one. Her hand flies to her mouth. She turns away, trembling. "I buried her here," I whisper. "Not in the ground, in this house, in every locked drawer, every lie I told." The clock on the mantel ticks once, sharp, sudden, like the heartbeat of the house returning. She looks at me again, eyes glistening. "And you thought I wouldn't find out?" I prayed you wouldn't. But you brought me here. I didn't mean to. I thought maybe selling it would free me. But the house won't let go. It remembers. She drops the photos back into the box, breathing hard. I can't stay here. I nod. I know. She walks to the door, but pauses. Her voice is barely a whisper. Was it love, Dad? What you did that night? Was it out of love or fear? I don't answer right away, because the truth is, I still don't know. I think, I say finally, it was both. She leaves the room. The sound of her footsteps fades down the hall, then out the front door. The house grows quiet again, but not peaceful. Never peaceful. I stand alone in the study. The air feels different now. Lighter maybe, or just emptier. The moonlight moves across the rug, pale and cold. I walk to the desk, open the drawer, and pull out the photograph that once sat on it. The missing frame. Her face looks back at me. Not angry, not forgiving, just there, still here. I told her. I whispered to the photo. She knows now. A gust of wind slips through the open window, scattering the papers across the floor. For a moment it sounds like a sigh. Maybe it's the house. Maybe it's her. Maybe it's just the weight leaving my chest after all these years. I sink into the chair. The key to the study still lies on the desk, glinting faintly in the moonlight. I pick it up, turn it over in my hand, and close my eyes. Outside, the sound of her car fades down the road, and inside, for the first time in years, the house stops whispering. The sea looks different in the morning, not calmer, just quieter, like it's holding its breath. The kind of silence that comes after you've said too much. I haven't slept. The chair creaks beneath me each time I shift, the study still dim, the air cold from the open window. The photo of her mother lies face down on the desk now. I couldn't bear her eyes watching me anymore. Somewhere outside, a car door slams. My daughter's. She's back. For a second, I wonder if she came for me or for the house. Either way, I know this will be the real reckoning. Not the shouting, not the tears, but what follows when the world keeps turning like nothing happened. I pour coffee, but it's gone bitter overnight. I drink it anyway. Punishment, maybe. A way to stay awake long enough to face her. The door opens softly. She doesn't speak at first. She just stands in the hallway, the morning light catching her hair, same color as her mother's. For a heartbeat, it hurts to look. I didn't leave, she says finally. I drove around for a while, thought about everything. Then I realized I couldn't just walk away. I nod, though my throat's too tight to answer. She steps into the kitchen. The floorboards groan beneath her, echoing each step like a verdict. She looks exhausted, eyes red, hands trembling slightly. I should tell someone, she says. The police. I know, I whisper. You probably will. Her jaw tightens. You're not even going to stop me? No. I stopped fighting the truth a long time ago. It just took me 20 years to say it out loud. She studies me, confused. Then why hide it for so long? Because once you tell the truth, I say, you don't get to control how it ends. The words hang there between us, true and useless all at once. She sits across from me. I found something else last night, in the drawer. My stomach twists. She pulls out a letter, yellowed, folded, edges soft from years of handling. It's in Mom's handwriting. I stare at it. I remember every line before she even reads. She unfolds it carefully. The paper trembles in her hands. If you're reading this, she begins, then something has gone wrong. I'm sorry, Clara. You deserve more than this, more than the silence we've lived with. Your father and I, that we made mistakes, both of us. But promise me you'll forgive him someday. He's not who you think he is. But he's not what he fears he is either. Her voice breaks. She looks up at me, eyes searching. What does that mean? I can barely speak. It means she knew. She knew what I might become. And she still believed there was something worth saving. She folds the letter, presses it to her chest. I don't know if I can forgive you. You don't have to, I say. Just don't let it rot you the way it did me. We sit in silence again, listening to the sea beyond the windows. The waves hit the shore in steady rhythm, like a heartbeat that refuses to stop. Then she says quietly, there's another reason I came back. I wait. The buyers, the ones coming today. You said they used to live near here? Yes. Her expression changes, tightens. I called the agent this morning. They're not strangers, Dad. It's Uncle Richard and Aunt Marla. My chest goes cold. They're coming here? She nods. In an hour. The room tilts slightly. The past isn't done with me. It's walking up the driveway. Richard, her mother's brother. The man who looked at me that night with a question he never asked out loud. I stand slowly. My hands are shaking again. Clara, I say. When they come, let me talk. Her brow furrows. Why? You think you can convince them not to tell? No, I say. Because they already know something you don't. Her voice sharpens. What are you talking about? But before I can answer, a car engine hums outside. Tires crunch on gravel. I glance toward the window. A black sedan pulls up the drive, sunlight glinting off its windshield. They're early, I whisper. Clara rises. Then maybe it's time for all of us to stop hiding. I should feel relief, but all I feel is dread. Because there's one secret left, one even she hasn't uncovered. The kind that changes everything you thought was true about guilt and about love and about who really caused the fall that night. I look at the study door down the hall, still open, the air around it trembling with ghosts. If Richard steps inside, he'll see it all. The letter, the stains, and what's buried underneath the floorboards that I never dared to touch. They stand on the porch before I can gather myself. The knock is firm, not hesitant like hers had been. I open the door and there he is, Richard. Time hasn't softened him. It's only sharpened what was already hard. Same narrow eyes, same clenched jaw, same air of quiet accusation he's worn since that night. Marla hovers just behind him, hands clasped, eyes darting everywhere except mine. He looks me over once. You still here, he says flatly. I force a smile that doesn't reach anywhere near my eyes. Apparently, Clara steps forward. Uncle Richard. Aunt Marla. Her voice trembles slightly. I didn't know it was you until this morning. Richard's gaze shifts to her. It softens briefly. You've grown. You look like her. I know, she says. Everyone tells me that. He nods once, then looks back at me. So you finally letting this place go? I step aside to let them in. You could say that. They walk in like they've rehearsed it, eyes scanning every corner, every object that's remained frozen in time. The air feels heavier, thicker, like the house itself knows what's about to happen. Richard stops by the piano, brushes his hand across the dust. Never thought I'd see this place again. Neither did I reply. Marla keeps to herself, quietly moving through the room, looking at old photographs. When she reaches one, the three of us on the beach, her eyes glisten. She loved this house, she whispers. Even when she shouldn't have. Richard turns sharply toward her, then toward me. You know why we're here? Yes, I say. To buy it, his jaw flexes. To bury it, Clara looks between us, confused. What's going on? He doesn't look at her. He just stares at me, that same stare from 20 years ago, the one that said, I know what you did. She deserves to know, Richard says. I told her, I answer quietly. Everything? That word cuts through the air. Clara looks at me, waiting. I told her about the fight, I say. About the accident. He takes a slow step closer. You left something out. I swallow hard. No, I didn't. You did, he says. You left out who pushed who. The room freezes. Even the sea seems to stop outside. Clara's voice cracks. What is he talking about? Richard looks at her. Not with anger, but something like sorrow. Your mother wasn't trying to leave that night. She was trying to stop him. My pulse stutters. That's not true. He ignores me. She found out what he did at the firm. The missing money. The false contracts. She confronted him here in this house. She wasn't leaving him, Clara. She was trying to save him from prison. Clara stares at me. Is that true? I don't answer. My mouth is dry, my heart pounding in my ears. She didn't understand, I manage. It was a mistake. I was trying to fix it before anyone found out, Richard finishes for me. And when she threatened to go to the police, you lost your temper. Stop, I whisper. But he doesn't. She didn't fall, Clara. She was pushed. The words hang in the air like a scream that never comes. Clara's breath catches. She steps back, hand to her mouth. No, he wouldn't. Richard looks at me. Tell her. I shake my head slowly. You weren't here. You don't know what happened. I know enough, he says. I saw the bruises. Silence. Heavy. Endless. Clara looks at me again, eyes wet but steady. Is it true? I look at her. My daughter. My last piece of her. And I can't bring myself to lie anymore. It wasn't supposed to happen, I say, voice cracking. We were both shouting. I reached for her. She pulled away. I tried to stop her from leaving, but she stumbled backward. She hit the table. The glass broke. Her eyes narrow. You said she slipped. She did, I whisper. After I pushed her. Her face changes then. Not anger, not grief. Just a kind of empty understanding. You killed her. I loved her. Then why hide it? Because I couldn't live without you, too. The silence that follows feels like punishment. Marla starts to cry quietly in the corner. Richard turns away, jaw tight. Clara takes a step back toward the door. I can't stay here, she says again, voice small. Not in this house. Not with you, I nod. I know. She turns and leaves without another word. The door closes behind her, and something inside me folds in on itself. The last thing holding me upright. Richard looks at me once more. The police will come, he says. You know that. I nod again. Let them. Maybe the house will finally sleep. He says nothing more. He just takes Marla's hand and walks out into the pale morning light. I'm left standing alone again, surrounded by the ghosts I built. The letter, the photos, the stains, all still here, waiting for the truth to settle. Outside, I hear a car engine start. Then the sound fades down the road until there's nothing but the sea again. Always the sea. I walk back to the study, sit in the chair one last time. My reflection stares back from the window. Older, smaller, transparent. The light catches the dust floating in the air like ash. They say confession sets you free, but they never say what happens after. I look down at my hands. The same hands that once built this home, the same that broke it. And for the first time in 20 years, I feel the weight begin to lift. Not gone, just lighter. Outside, the wind shifts. The sea sighs, and somewhere in the distance, I think I hear her voice again, soft, forgiving. Or maybe just the echo of a man finally out of lies. She stands in the middle of the room, motionless, as though the air itself has turned to glass around her. The storm outside has quieted, but its ghost lingers in her breathing, ragged, shallow, trembling. Morning light creeps through the cracked curtains, soft and golden, and for the first time it paints her face not as the realtor, not as the daughter trying to stay composed, but as a stranger who's seen something she cannot unsee. I watch her from the doorway, silent. The cup of coffee in my hand has gone cold. I thought the truth would set us free, or at least break something open between us that honesty could mend. But it hasn't. It's only deepened the distance. She doesn't look at me. She just keeps staring at the floorboards, the same ones that once echoed with her mother's footsteps, then with the sound of my guilt pacing at night. When she finally speaks, her voice is hollow. You should have told me. I tried. I whisper, though I know it's not true. I tried to bury it, not confess it, because telling her meant admitting that her childhood, the beach trips, the bedtime stories, the birthdays, were all built on a foundation of silence and half-truths. She turns to face me. There's no anger left in her eyes now, only disbelief. You let me sell it, she says. You watched me sign the papers smiling like it was just a house. It was easier that way, I say, though even as the words leave me, they taste bitter, cowardly. You wouldn't have believed me back then. She laughs, but it's not laughter. It's a sound of breaking. You never gave me a chance to. I take a step forward. The light shifts across her face, catching tears that she doesn't wipe away. I want to reach for her, to explain everything in one clean sentence, but there's no clean way to say what really happened. The truth isn't a confession. It's a contagion. Once spoken, it spreads. She shakes her head slowly. Do you know what's worse than what you did? She asks. It's that you made me part of it. I sold this place. I handed it to strangers. I thought I was moving on, but I was just erasing evidence. Her words hit harder than anything the night before. She's right. She's always been right. I made her an accomplice to my silence. She takes the study key from the counter and places it between us. It glints in the light like a verdict. Keep it, she says. Whatever's left in there, it's yours. I don't want it. Then she turns to leave. I want to stop her. To tell her that I kept the study locked not out of malice, but mercy, that there are truths worse than lies and memories that shouldn't be unearthed. But when I open my mouth, nothing comes out, only the soft rasp of breath, like the wind through the old rafters. The door closes behind her with a sound that feels final. For a moment, I stand there, listening to the echo fade. Then, something strange happens. The silence doesn't settle, it stirs. It moves through the hallways like a living thing. I follow it, drawn not by reason but by instinct, until I find myself standing once again before the study door. The key sits cold in my palm. I don't know if I want to open it for her or for me. Maybe both, maybe neither. The lock clicks open with a sound that feels like the end of something sacred. Dust drifts through the shaft of morning light, catching on the edges of an old photograph still hanging crooked on the wall. Her mother's face, smiling, unaware of the years of silence that would follow. I take the frame in my hands, my fingers trembling. There's a note tucked behind it. I unfold it carefully, my heart pounding in my chest like a second clock counting down. One line, written in her mother's handwriting, if she ever asks. Tell her I stayed for love, not for fear. I close my eyes. For the first time in years, I cry. Not out of guilt, not out of shame, but out of something like surrender. The house seems to exhale with me, and I realize the truth didn't destroy us. The silence did. The house feels different when she's gone. It's quieter, yes, but not peaceful. It's the kind of silence that hums, like something waiting to be said. The walls hold their breath. Even the clock in the hallway has stopped ticking, as if time itself has given up on this place. I sit in the living room with the photograph still in my hand. Her mother's smile. That same soft curl of her lip I used to think meant forgiveness. But the more I look at it, the more I see something else. Resignation. The kind people mistake for peace when it's really just exhaustion. The morning light spills across the dust, turning it gold. It's strange how dust catches beauty in its fall. Maybe that's what I am now. A man made of dust, briefly glowing under the memory of sunlight. I remember the day we bought this house. She ran through these rooms barefoot, her laughter echoing against the walls. The sea breeze carried in through the open windows, the smell of salt and hope. We thought this place would fix us, that love and a view of the horizon could mend the cracks we refused to name. But cracks don't mend themselves. They wait. They widen. I pour another drink, though it's not even noon. The glass clinks against the bottle, sharp in the silence. I don't drink for the taste anymore. I drink to blur the edges of memory. Because when the past comes back, it comes in fragments. The sound of a slammed door, a voice trembling through the dark, the last thing she said before she fell quiet. The study door is still open. I should close it. I can't. Every time I try, it feels like closing a coffin lid I never deserved to touch. I walk toward it instead. The floorboards creak under my feet like old bones. Inside, the air smells of paper and something older, like time itself rotting. Her handwriting is everywhere. Grocery lists, unfinished letters, the small notes she used to leave on the fridge. Buy milk. Don't forget to call the doctor. Love you. How easily those words lose their meaning. When love itself becomes a ghost, there's a sound. Upstairs, soft, like a door moving against its hinges. For a second, I think she's come back. I even call her name. My voice echoes hollow, unanswered. No one. Just the wind. Or maybe not. I move to the staircase, the railing smooth where her small hand used to glide. Halfway up, I pause, because I see it. A shadow in the hallway. It's not moving. It's just standing there faint, where the light doesn't reach. For a heartbeat, I swear it's her, not my daughter, but her. My wife, watching, waiting. I blink and it's gone. But I can still feel it. That cold, thin thread of air that comes after someone leaves a room. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe it's something else. I don't know anymore. I go back downstairs. Sit in her chair. The one she used to read in by the window. The sea outside is rough today, white caps rolling like memories that won't settle. The photograph trembles in my hand. My eyes sting. Not from tears, but from the salt in the air, I tell myself. Always the same lie I whisper into the emptiness. I told her. She knows now. The wind answers. Or maybe it's the old wood shifting. But in that sound, I swear I hear something else. A sigh. A voice. Then let go. I freeze. My heart slams against my ribs. The house is silent again, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm no longer alone in it. I look up at the open study door. The sunlight flickers against the wall, and for an instant, just an instant, I see her shadow again, standing where she used to stand, her hand resting gently on the frame. And this time, she's smiling. The wind has started again. It howls softly through the cracks in the window frames. That same low moan the house makes when it wants to remind me it's still alive. I can feel it breathing, slow, steady, like the pulse of something ancient beneath the plaster and paint. I tell myself it's only the sea breeze, but every time I glance toward the study door, I catch that faint shimmer in the air. A shape half formed, half remembered. Her, always her. I walk toward the door again. The floorboards groan, the same sound they made the night she fell silent. I keep thinking if I stand in the exact spot where it all ended, maybe I'll understand it. Maybe I'll see what I missed. The study smells the same. Paper, old coffee, salt. I touch the edge of the desk. The dust has settled in thin layers, soft as ash. My fingerprints carve small, deliberate paths through it. For a moment, I imagine I'm erasing time. I sit down. The chair complains under my weight. There are still things scattered across the surface. Pens, a cracked mug, her notebook. I open it. The ink has bled where tears once fell, though I can't remember whose. Inside, fragments. Grocery lists, dates, and at the very end, a single unfinished line. When you read this, remember that's it. Nothing more. No ending, no closure. Just the sentence hanging there like a pulse that stopped mid-beat. I close the notebook and rest my head in my hands. I don't pray anymore, but something inside me still whispers, please. Just one more word. The house creaks again. I look up, expecting nothing. But in the reflection of the window, I see movement. A faint ripple, as though someone brushed past behind me. I turn slowly. Nothing. Only the light, moving gently across the room. Still my heart races. It's strange how grief can trick you into believing the dead still linger. Maybe they do. Maybe guilt is the bridge that keeps them close. Outside, the tide is rising. Waves crash harder against the rocks, the sound rolling through the house like distant thunder. I can taste salt in the air, thick and metallic. I stand and walk toward the door. My reflection follows me in the glass. For a moment, I see her beside me, her hand slipping into mine, the way it used to when storms frightened her, and then she's gone again. I walk through the hallway, the photographs on the wall staring as I pass. Some are crooked. One falls, shattering against the floor. The sound echoes like a gunshot. I stare at the broken frame. It's the photo from our last trip, her and our daughter on the shore, sun in their eyes. Happiness caught mid-motion before everything cracked. I kneel, pick up the pieces, and cut my palm on the glass. Blood wells up small and bright. I don't flinch. I just watch it. Somehow it feels honest. Pain that doesn't hide. I whisper. You wanted me to let go. I'm trying. The sea roars again, louder now as if answering. Somewhere in the distance, a door slams shut. I freeze, breath held. The sound didn't come from the wind this time. I wait. Listen, another slam. Upstairs, footsteps, slow, deliberate. I should be afraid. I'm not. Maybe because part of me already knows who it is. I turn toward the staircase, my heart thudding with a strange calm. Each step I take feels heavier, slower, as though the house itself is pulling me back. Halfway up, the light flickers. The hallway stretches long and dim, shadows deepening, and at the top of the stairs I see her again. Faint, almost transparent, but there, her figure framed by the bedroom door. She isn't angry. She isn't sad. She just looks at me with that same soft, tired smile. I stop breathing, then quietly, she says, "You don't have to stay." The words echo, low and tender, before fading into the sound of the wind. And then, the figure dissolves. The hallway is empty once more. I sink to my knees, the air thick around me, the house groaning like it's finally exhaling years of held breath. Maybe she's right. Maybe staying is my punishment, or maybe it's her mercy. The house is breathing with me now. Every exhale feels like a release, every inhale like the sea drawing back before another wave hits. I can't tell where I end and where the house begins. Maybe I've been here too long. Maybe I became part of its memory. The storm outside has quieted to a whisper. The sound of waves folding onto themselves reminds me of her laugh, the one that used to spill through the open windows before the silence moved in. I can almost hear it again. Almost. I walk back into the study. The air is colder here, the light weaker. On the desk lies the notebook, still open to that unfinished sentence. When you read this, remember The ink has faded, but the space after that dash feels alive. I run my thumb along the paper, tracing the curve of her handwriting. I can't help wondering what she meant to say. Remember I what? Loved you? Forgave you? Knew? The unanswered part feels like a door that won't close. I lean back, eyes shut. Every sound in the house has its own rhythm. The whisper of curtains, the crack of wood, the distant cry of gulls. I realize they've all been here all this time, trying to speak to me. I just wasn't listening. When I open my eyes again, dusk has already crept in. The light is orange and thick, painting the walls in old fire. The shadows stretch long, like memories reaching for the present. I take a deep breath and stand, the notebook still in my hand. That's when I notice it, the faint outline on the wall behind the desk. The wallpaper there is cleaner, newer. I peel back a corner and a strip comes off easily, exposing the wood beneath. There's something carved there. Letters, faint but visible in the dying light. Her handwriting. Again. I brush away the dust, my fingers trembling. It's only a few words, uneven and shallow. She saw more than you think. My stomach drops. The house seems to tighten around me. She? I whisper. Our daughter? The air feels heavier now, like the walls are leaning closer to listen. I take a step back, heart pounding. My mind races through every memory, her questions. The way she looked at me when I told her half-truths. Her silence at dinner those last few weeks before her mother was gone. She 9. She always knew something. I sit down slowly, the weight of it pressing on me like the sea against glass. All these years, I thought I was protecting her from pain, from judgment, from the truth. But what if I was only protecting myself? I hear a floorboard creak above me. My breath catches. The same slow, deliberate step as before. I close my eyes, too tired to look. Is it you? I ask. My voice cracks. Nothing. Then another step. Closer. The air chills, sharp enough to sting. I open my eyes, and there, by the staircase, is that same shadow again. Taller this time, clearer. My wife's shape standing still, the light bending around her and behind her. Smaller. A second shape. My chest tightens. I can't move. It's our daughter. As a child, holding her mother's hand. They both just stand there watching me. The silence hums. The moment stretches thin. I want to speak, to say something that can bridge the years, the lies, the distance, but all that comes out is a whisper. I didn't mean for it to happen. The child tilts her head. The woman steps closer. Her voice, when it comes, is soft as tide foam. You already know what you have to do. Then they fade. slowly, like mist unraveling in sunlight. I'm left alone again. Trembling in the half-light, the house breathing deep around me, and I realize what she meant. What they both meant. Let go, not just of the house, of the guilt, the silence, the version of myself that lived in denial. I set the notebook down, close it gently, and walk to the door. The sea outside glows silver under the rising moon. For the first time, I open all the windows. The air rushes in, cold, clean, alive. The curtains billow like wings. The dust lifts and dances, golden under the lamplight. I whisper to the house, "It's done." And as the last echo fades into the night, I swear the walls whisper back, "Then go." I step outside. The wind tastes of salt and freedom. Behind me, the house stands silent, but lighter somehow, as though it finally forgave me. The wind carries the salt across my face like memory, sharp at first, then soft, dissolving into something almost kind. The sky is pale blue, washed clean after the storm. For the first time in years, the house doesn't look haunted. It just looks old, honest. Standing there against the edge of the sea, it seems smaller, gentler, like it's finally tired of holding secrets. I walk toward the water, my footsteps sinking into the damp sand. Each one leaves a mark that fills slowly with foam. The waves reach for me, tugging at the hem of my trousers like a child's small hand asking not to be left behind. The morning light glimmers over the horizon, gold, tender, forgiving, the kind of light my wife loved. I can still see her there sometimes, sitting on that same stretch of beach with a blanket and her notebook, the pages fluttering in the wind. She said the sea helped her think. I never understood that until now. The ocean doesn't hold on. It never keeps what it touches. It pulls everything in, sorrow, guilt, confession, and carries it somewhere far beyond the reach of memory. I close my eyes and breathe in deep. The air tastes like salt and new beginnings. Behind me, the old house stands quiet, its windows glowing faintly in the sun. I can almost imagine her at one of them, smiling the way she did when the world still made sense. I take the photograph from my pocket, the one of the three of us. The glass is cracked, the image faded, but her eyes still shine. My daughter's laughter is caught in that frozen moment, her arms thrown wide toward the sea. I kneel down and place the photo on the sand. The tide reaches it gently, as if recognizing something it once knew. The water curls around the frame, and then, slowly, it carries it away. For a long time, I just watch it drift, smaller, smaller, until it's nothing but a glimmer in the waves. I whisper, "Thank you," though I'm not sure who I'm speaking to. Maybe both of them. Maybe the house. Maybe myself. The sun warms my face. The wind moves through my hair, light and alive. And in that silence, I feel it. The weight that's lived in my chest for years. Lift, not disappear, but change. Become something I can carry without breaking. When I turn back toward the house, the light catches on the windows, and for the briefest second, I see them there, my wife and my daughter, framed by gold, smiling, whole. Then the reflection fades, and all that's left is the sea and the sky, and a man who finally understands that letting go isn't losing. It's coming home. I take one last look at the beach house, not as a prison anymore, but as a witness. Then I start walking. The sand gives beneath my feet, soft and forgiving. Each step feels lighter than the last. The horizon stretches wide, endless, welcoming, and for the first time, I don't look back. The road to the sea was longer than he remembered. The air was different too, heavy with salt, carrying a softness that had been missing from his lungs for years. Each step felt like a release, like the world had stopped resisting his weight. The sound of the waves came first, distant but rhythmic, like a heartbeat he'd been separated from too long. He thought of her, his daughter, not as she was when she left, but as a child again. The way she'd reach for his hand without asking. The way her laughter used to fill the spaces he now filled with silence. He realized then that forgiveness wasn't something she could give him. It was something he had to make room for inside himself. The horizon burned gold as the sun began to sink. The light wrapped around him, gentle and forgiving, touching even the parts of him that had remained untouched for decades. He walked closer to the shore until the water reached his feet, cold but not cruel. The sea seemed to hum with understanding, as if it knew what he'd carried here. He closed his eyes and whispered her name, the way he used to when she was small and afraid of the dark. This time he wasn't asking her to come back. He was letting her go. The guilt that had clung to him began to loosen, not vanish all at once, but fade like mist when the sun rises. He stood there until the tide crept higher, washing over his shoes, his knees, his trembling hands. Every wave took a little more of his burden, carried it somewhere unseen. He could almost hear her voice in the wind, soft, forgiving. Or maybe it was his own heart finally learning how to be still. When he turned back toward the road, the house felt far away, smaller, almost like a memory that no longer held power. The sea had taken what it needed. He didn't look back again. Only the sound of waves remained, eternal and calm, like a final promise that everything, no matter how broken, could one day find peace.